And showtime. All right, we're live here with Teresa Mbgaya. That's right,
That
Mbgaya
is
from
correct.
Nairobi, Kenya.
Hmm.
Teresa, what brings you all the way overseas to the United States, or do you live in the United States or you live in Kenya?
I'm based in Kenya, so I'm actually traveling for part of UN General Assembly Week,
Wow.
and that's part of the reason I'm here. Hmm.
But what brings you to Business Call to Action today? Why are you speaking about um,
Yeah.
the global goals?
I think one of the most important factors as we think about changing technologies, future of work, and just general disruption in the world that we live in is making sure that as many communities are represented in the conversations that are happening. And with Business Call to Action, it was an opportunity to have emerging markets featured more prominently as we talk about what are some of the shifts that we anticipate in work and how that will affect those who are living in Latin America, in India, in Sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, it's a big issue. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right there, and there's
Mhm.
not as much help as we'd like.
Mhm.
What is your organization doing right now to make an impact?
So Omidyar Network is an impact investment fund. We operate in Latin America, Brazil, Sub-Saharan Africa, as well as the US, focusing on really how do we empower individuals, how do we support them to create better, healthier societies. And that's evident in our work in financial inclusion, in education. We supported over 800 organizations across the world
Mm.
to really create tangible impact that's catalytic in the environments that we operate in.
And what are some of the struggles that you face? I mean, I think there was a question asked earlier today is we can give somebody, the most healthy food ever, but if they don't like the taste, they're not going to, eat it. They're not going to buy it. What are some things that you run into with your work?
So we support a lot of entrepreneurial communities. And I think one of the struggles that we see and one of the challenges that we see from an entrepreneur perspective is access to financing, particularly at the early stage venture. And so what is the pipeline of funders, philanthropists who are coming in to still support and ignite that level of entrepreneurship in young people, but from a very early stage? So certainly financing is one. Another is partnerships, understanding that no real impact in this world can be felt in siloed operations. So who are the critical partners that we as a media network need to bring to the table together? Who are the partners that entrepreneurs, organizations, foundations need to be able to create tangible impact in the world? And so I fundamentally believe we need more partnerships and we need more patient capital, more compassionate capital in how we support young entrepreneurs.
So 12 years until 2030, when the Sustainable Development Goals are supposed to be achieved by.
Mhm.
Do you think this is possible? Do you think this is a goal that we can actually achieve?
Mhm. Yeah.
And if not, why so?
I think it's possible, but it requires a fundamental shift in how we think about society, how we think about our economies, how we think about our value of education, what is the purpose of education. Should those align, certainly we have an incredible opportunity ahead of us to really drastically reduce global poverty, ensure that children have right access to education, to quality education, and to really help ease the inequalities that are growing larger and larger in this world.
Definitely. And so in Kenya, in Nairobi itself, growing up, was this a big concern of yours? Was this something that like you felt deep down to the core that you need to give back to your community and give back to the world and help out others? Or, where does this passionate, purposeful vibe come from?
Um, Certainly from my mother. She's the
Okay,
most selfless person I know.
awesome.
But even then, when I think about next generations and what we can do to really support them, I think the greatest gift we can give to the next generation is empathy, and is certainly this sense of um, community, so that they are not necessarily the center of what happens in the world, but rather it's about how we support and how we build thriving communities. I think that's incredibly important. And if you are in a position of privilege and a position of power, then just looking around at the widening inequalities, why would you not want to act?
Definitely. And so you're saying the biggest gift you can give to the next generation is empathy. What would you like to tell our viewers? Empathize with our viewers. What advice would you give to them?
There's so many things, truly. I always say, and one of the things I tend to do more of is to gather women together, particularly young women, to look at how we can support one another. But to know when to trust yourself. I think it's quite simple.
All right. And then, Teresa, last question I'll ask is, we kind of see you doing extraordinary things. We want to cover this stuff. We want to also cover how people are changing their minds from profit to purpose. And you're a leader in this space. So what I'd like to ask is, what is your definition of a real leader?
And it's interesting because this definition also changes over time. It changes as you encounter more people. I think it has to be purposeful. I think you have to lead with your values, and I've seen that so concretely reflected in leaders from Amy Clement at Omidyar Network, who leads from a place of love, from Strive Masiwa with Econet Wireless, who has incredible vision in how we support future generations within the African continent. But it is purposeful, and it is about supporting as many people as we can and encouraging young leaders to really emerge.
Purposeful, supporting, encouraging, everything that Teresa and Mbgaya embodies. Well, Teresa, we appreciate your time here. Thank you for coming on, and hopefully we can inspire the future together.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Pleasure.
All right. Goodbye, Facebook.